I know everyone's seen Death Becomes Her. This was an awesome recommendation. Yeah, Death Becomes Her was a pretty great recommendation. I enjoyed this movie for the most part. I'm not sure that it quite reaches the heights of something like Brazil, but I do think it's in that kind of category of where you really abstract the reality to be like humorous and interesting, and to highlight the weird things that they're trying to get into, which is which kind of goes into like this right here, using all these things to be wrong. There's a musical coming to Broadway. Oh my god, I would love to see it. Yeah, I think this would be really, really funny as a musical. Like there's a lot of physical humor here, right? Like imagining, when she gets shot with the shotgun and flies through the air, like it's a goddamn cartoon, and falls into the pool. I love that, and I was not ready for her to get back up either. But essentially, like, in this movie, Meryl Streep is some kind of singer or performer on Broadway, and she has this friend who has a fiance, and they're like, and they're at the show, sitting in watching Meryl Streep's show, and the husband, which is Bruce Willis, is just like enraptured. He is absolutely in love with her, and just like can't take his eyes off of Meryl Streep, and his fiance is just like giving him daggers. She's not happy about this at all. And apparently it turns out it was like all some kind of test. Like she brought him there to take the test to see if he would fall in love with her and be stolen by her, which is exactly what happened. So it was a terrible test, and it was like a hard cut too. It was pretty funny. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in not just like the editing, but the like the actual actions of the characters and the dialogue as well. Nothing ever made me like really laugh out loud though. It was just constantly like making me smile. Yeah, just consistently humorous and fun to watch. The like all kinds of weird shit was happening. But yeah, he's completely enraptured. And so we then cut 7 years. We literally like hard cut 7 years later. He left her. He married Meryl Streep. She's now like overweight, being disgusting, watching the same scene of Meryl Streep getting murdered over and over and over again, and police are like banging on her doors, and they break in and they put her in handcuffs, and she just like won't take her eyes away from the screen, and she's got like food dripping down her. It's a crazy over the top movie. It's a lot of fun, and then she's in it's really like it's hard to condense this movie because we span so much time, because 7 years go by, and then she ends up in like a mental institution getting like therapy for 6 months, where she keeps just talking about Meryl Streep over and over and over and over again, and just can't let it go until she has like some kind of epiphany. And then we cut 7 more years later. We cut another, so now it's been 14 years since the very, very beginning of the movie, and everyone's older, and it was not good. Yeah, but it's also comical. It's not like they were trying to hide it there. It was very, very, very cartoony. Yeah, much of this movie was very, 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 very cartoony. But yeah, she gained a little weight. That's like kind of how I put that there. But yeah, so it cuts to like Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis now in their mansion, terribly married. They fucking hate each other. He's drunk, passed out on the ground in his office. She is rude to her assistant or whatever, and they get invited to some kind of book party, which is the book party of the friend, and they go there, and now she's like all glowed up. Right? She's got like a red dress on. She looks like she's 40 instead of 50 or 60 or something like that. And it just drives both of these people insane, and things kind of snowball from here, where it turns out that the friend that had her fiance stolen has been plotting for 7 years how to murder her friend, and steal Bruce Willis away from her just to do it. And then there's something about like a witch that gets involved, and she's like half naked and giving them potions and magic and talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course Meryl Streep drinks this shit. And this is after she like tries to go cheat on her husband too, but he's like sleeping with some other younger lady, and and he's like, I'm doing you a favor, go find someone your own age. A lot of this is about age and beauty. And so they drink this little pink liquid, and she comes back to her home all ready to like live life, but she doesn't know that her husband and her friend are plotting to murder her. And she starts fighting with Bruce Willis, and they're arguing back and forth. And eventually Bruce Willis just like, it's pretty vicious. He pushes her down the stairs eventually after like a tussle, and she just gets totally mangled. Like her head is twisted around, her arm is over her body. It's brutal. Like I'm bad with body stuff like that, and it was pretty comically horrible. And he's like, and at first it's kind of like he's freaking out, and then the first thing that he does is call the friend though, and he's like super excited. And I did it. After all these years, I finally murdered her. I fucking hated her. And while we're stuck on this shot, my favorite, it's so good. Yeah, it's so good because you're just sitting there and it's like a wide shot and he's close to the camera and you can see her mangled body in the background and he's just like bouncing up and down, talking to the friend about how they're going to bury the body and go out and live this great life. And you can kind of see Meryl Streep in the backward, kind of like correcting into place. It's horribly fun and it's like out of focus and you can see her like it's pretty gross, but she eventually stands up and he still doesn't know and she's slowly walking towards the camera, but her head is twisted all the way around. And this is like the 1970s, right? So it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look that good. But she's like walking backwards with her head twisted around, and naturally he starts screaming and I'm screaming and she's screaming, and everybody doesn't really know what's happening, and she manages to finally like twist her head around and they run to the doctor. And this part was super fun too. Like, oh, this is so silly. Bro, no, it's not. No, it is not. What is not? They run to the doctor. Oh God. And my point here is that it turns out they're dead. She's dead, right? She's dead. She has no heartbeat. She is completely, it came out in, what did I say? Yeah, it is the 90s. Sorry. What did I say? Did I say 70s? Yeah, sorry. It is the 90s. That's my bad. Yeah, this movie came out in the 90s. But yeah, so they run to the doctor. She is verifiably dead. Like the doctor checks her heartbeat. He's like, I gotta go get a second opinion. He's kind of freaking out about it. He takes her hand and he like pushes all the way backward and he's like, are you sure that doesn't hurt? And the bone is kind of sticking out of it there. Either way, all of this is like a ton of fun, and it's just a chaos time of just making sure. Oh yeah, no, I definitely misspoke there because I thought that this movie was from the 70s, and then when I logged it on Letterboxd, I was like, all right, it's from the 90s. But oh gosh, where was I? But yeah, she's dead. She's dead, right? So they then, oh God, there's just so much. I don't want to spend so much time going through like every plot point here. The point is that each moment is a ton of fun. Very, 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 very silly. You know, everybody is kind of hamming it up. The doctors are like, like running around, doing their thing. She now has the eternal youth that she always wanted, and the irony is pretty apparent right from the start is that, you know, some damage can't be undone. Her body is just going to slowly break down, and a part of this is that like he was a surgeon and then he became like an undertaker, so he was doing he makes the dead bodies look pretty, right? And he uses like spray paint. So now this comes in very convenient handy, and he is like painting her and trying to make her look all nice when and this is when the other girl comes back in. Oh, do we really need to go through all of it? This movie is so long. Yeah, no, but then it just keeps escalating from here, right? So the friend comes in, she starts yelling, the two ladies start fighting, Meryl Streep shoots her with a shotgun, she's got a giant hole in her now. Naturally, she took the goddamn potion too, and this is when we kind of get like a resolution here between them, because they literally can't kill each other, they can't cause any more physical pain, and this is when they finally start and are able to apologize or admit that they were doing all these terrible things to each other for decades. For decades. And Bruce Willis is just kind of over it. This guy has been abused for years and years and years and years now, and and it's kind of, and the twist is kind of funny because now he's essential, right? He is 100% essential to them. So now they're being like really nice to him, but also kind of rude, because without him they can't look beautiful, which is the thing that they did all this for anyways. So they their first thought, because he decides to leave, is to drug him. Yeah, is to drug him and to tempt him with a drink with alcohol. And you know, it's kind of funny because they give him the drink and he keeps like throwing it out and throwing it this way, and they're like, you know, doing that whole thing. And then eventually he's just like, I drink too much, puts the glass down, tries to walk out, and Meryl Streep just picks up a pot and just starts hitting, and it takes like a couple hits where for him to finally knock out. But yeah, more shenanigans ensue, and they end up back at the manor where they got all this magic from in the first place, and we get like a bunch of celebrities that I didn't get the reference. Did you guys get any of those references there? I got none of the references. It's like a whole bunch of famous people that should be dead. Didn't get any of the references. I just don't know actors or people or stuff, but it's like a whole party of people that I'm guessing I should have known. The point is, though, that he just didn't take... He refuses over and over to take the potion, and they keep trying over and over to get him to take it now that they need him, and it just gets all kind of twisted and fun. Not even the Elvis one? Nope. I could not tell you at all which one was Elvis. I have no. And then there was like a part in the pool. Yeah, I'm guessing that was some kind of famous line that I just didn't get at all. But yeah, he just keeps refusing over and over again. This is like, it's just a lot of comedy and irony here. And they get so close to making him drink this potion. And he's had to like sit through, you know, these people getting blown apart and looking directly in the face of like what his future could be. And keeps running away. And we eventually come to this we eventually come to this conclusion where, you know, the two ladies realize that, you know, they jokingly say, I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life painting your ass. And then we cut 37 years later to his funeral, where he's lived this long, happy life. He had children. He impacted all kinds of people all over the world. And this is when I was like, yeah, but I still might take the potion. I still might have taken the even up until this point in the movie, I still thought that I'd be impulsive and stupid enough to take the potion. I recognized Elvis. What? I wonder if I could look it up really quickly. Like, how did I miss? Like Elvis is a pretty distinct guy. Elvis, death becomes her. Is that supposed to be Elvis? This is Elvis? Yeah, her head's on backwards here. This is when he's hanging off like a roof, and they're just like screaming at him, and he's so close to taking it, and they're like, you fucking have to do it. Oh, please be serious. Elvis on the left. Literally the first photo. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. But yeah, like there are just so many fun and humorous moments here. Like she sits down on the couch and the pole just goes directly through her. You kind of can't take anything in this movie seriously. Even like just going through the plot here doesn't really ruin anything in the movie, because it's just so much fun from start to finish. But yeah, like the priest is going on about like how he achieved eternal youth through his kids and all the people that he impacted in the world, and Meryl Streep's just like blah 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 blah, which is kind of how I felt too, kinda, you know. But then they fall down the stairs and they fall apart, and it ends with a joke, and it's all very sweet and fun. I'm not entirely like, what do you guys think about this movie though? Like, what do you think? Just that, like, what was your guys' takeaway here? That you should focus on impacting other people, and that you should focus on having a positive impact on other people instead of focusing so much on how you're perceived and being young. I really don't have too much to say there. That's why this movie doesn't reach the same heights as something like Brazil for me, which is on a much larger scale too. Like as fun as this movie is, I did think that some of the actual backgrounds and scenes weren't nearly as fantastical as I might have liked them to be. But then again, like it's kind of nice to have this happening in such a recognizable world. I ain't seen this movie since the 90s. In the 1970s. Liked when the chick got a hole blown through her. That was extremely crazy. Yeah, that was pretty wild. And yeah, I truly was not ready for her to stand back up there. Bruce Willis. You know, like this is man. When did oh God. What's the big Bruce Willis movie? Bruce Willis. Die Hard. When did Die Hard come out? 1980. Okay, so this was before Die Hard. I was wondering just because like he just did so many action movies, and this one's so different than everything else that he's done. You know, it's kind of akin to Ryan Gosling and Barbie in terms of just like hamming it up. This is also by Robert Zemeckis, which I couldn't believe. I guess I didn't realize how much that he had done. Right? He made so many movies. He did Forrest Gump, Castaway, Back to the Future, Who Framed Robert. Really, like, yeah. Every time I find out that he did something, I'm always surprised. And then oh, it was producer. Okay. I think he directed that too, right? Yeah, he did direct. Yeah, but then it's like also Pinocchio, the prize winner of Defiance. Oh, that was producer. Why are we seeing producers? I'm always surprised at how many incredible movies that he's done. I just don't. He's just not like a household name to me in the same way that something like Steven Spielberg is, even though he has done his fair share of massive franchises and just really incredible movies like Castaway, yeah, The Witches, Pinocchio. Like in a silly sense. Honestly, this movie has a similar takeaway to Barbie, like in a silly sense, but it's just a mockery of women's beauty standards being so batshit. Isn't that kind of interesting? How the same message was back in the 1990s, and here we are, 30 years later, and we have to reiterate the same message over and over again. That's kind of what I loved about, or that's more than what I'm so horribly bad with names. I'm so horribly bad with names. Do the Right Thing. That's what I loved about Do the Right Thing too. I think everybody should see this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It takes place on one block in New York, and it has one of the most iconic like speeches in history where it goes with the love and hate here. And it's just remarkable that, you know, this movie also came out in the 90s, and 30 years later this message is still the same. It still holds up, and that's a bit sad in some ways. But this movie is incredible. I won't talk about it today, but I highly recommend that everybody watch this one, which is not something that I would normally say. Should we play Batman? Should we finally start getting into Batman here? Like the two women are crazy and mental, blah blah. Yeah, I don't know if you have any final thoughts about Death Becomes Her. Again, it's another one of those movies where it emphasizes not spending your life doing what other people want. You know, you at some point you have to take action, and he They make a joke about that at his funeral where he's like, this guy literally didn't start his life until he was 50 because we would talk about his life beforehand, but we know literally nothing about it because he didn't do anything. Not that I really cared about that when I watched it, just not that it's coming up. Like the two women are crazy, blah 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 blah, but it's not that far a leap from how women feel. Well, that's I guess why this movie holds up still. Every time you are like, this is a really good movie, it's never on a streaming service I have. Yeah, that's generally how it goes. I'm flying today, so I'll be leaving soon and maybe back next week, but we'll see. Good luck. I hope you enjoy your time off. We'll be hanging out here. I hope you have a good trip though. Have a good rest of your September. We'll be. I don't know if Wukong is. I don't know if we should play something else before Switterall gets back, or just hopping into Wukong. I still haven't really decided there. But today we have Batman. We have more Batman here. Good luck, dude. Yes, have a wonderful trip though. I hope it's a good trip. Going on vacation. Let's see. Thank you. We have more Batman. More Batman. See, if we had magic, Doom could be literally flying in the sky. Do you know about have you ever ridden in an airplane? That would be better. They have like airplanes and stuff, and I think teleporters are gonna be real. I think teleporters are gonna be real, and I cannot wait for like. Can you imagine a big station full of teleporters where you just walk in and you show up somewhere else? Please, I really out of everything in the world, I want teleporters to be real. But they do have planes though.